Later on, that rain then is going to become pretty widespread as we go through Saturday. Most of us will see some rain at times and also some blustery winds. Bye-bye.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
What does it feel like to be a Great British Giveaway winner?
That's a big surprise.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
Do you know what? I've never won anything like this in my life.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
That is absolutely fantastic.
We're over the moon.
Yes, that is fantastic.
You know, you have no idea how much I needed it. Oh my goodness.
That's wonderful. Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I was gobsmacked. Thank you, GBNews.
I'd say don't hesitate, do it. If you're not in it, you've got no chance of winning it.
Thank you.
You weren't expecting to get that call today, were you?
No, I wasn't.
You really could be our next big winner. Head over to gbnews.com/win now to find out how and get your entry for the Great British Giveaway. Great prizes, even greater wins.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point.
He's lying. I mean, maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi everyone, it's 11 o'clock, which means it's time for tomorrow's newspapers tonight. Please join us over the next hour to find out. Reeves is going to get tough on migrants. Would Dunkirk have been thwarted by a rubber dinghy? And the latest misuse of the word genocide. Now it's a white genocide. I'm Josh Howie. Tonight I am joined by white Lewis Schaefer and Adam Kumas. Take you through Thursday's top stories.
How do you know that I'm white? I'm not.
This is headliners.
I'm not white.
But before tomorrow's news, let's go to tonight's headlines with white Katie Bowen.
Josh, thank you and good evening. Your latest headlines from the GB newsroom. Let's start with that breaking news from the sporting world tonight. And Tottenham Hotspur have won the UEFA Europa League final, beating Manchester United 1-0. A goal just before half-time from Brennan Johnson put Spurs ahead, and now they've clinched the title in Bilbao. Fans gathered at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to celebrate the result, their first title in 17 years. More reaction on GB News tomorrow. Nearly 30,000 failed asylum seekers, foreign criminals and other immigration offenders have been returned since the election, according to the Home Office. They've been returned to countries across Africa, Asia, Europe and South America as the government pledged to ramp up immigration enforcement action. The new figures published tonight mark a 12% increase in returns compared to the same period 12 months ago. A new row has erupted in the White House this evening over allegations of genocide in South Africa, as US President Donald Trump hosted South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. During a press conference between the two leaders, President Trump played videos relating to those allegations to confront the South African leader. Both President Trump and Elon Musk have recently claimed that there is a genocide of white farmers in Mr. Ramaphosa's country, something which the South African government denies. President Trump said in the meeting that he hoped for an explanation on recent events in South Africa. President Ramaphosa responded by saying that, quote, "Our government is completely against what President Trump described and that our democracy allows for expression." A member of Irish rap trio Kneecap has been charged with displaying a flag in support of Hezbollah, a proscribed organisation. 27-year-old Liam O'Hanna of Belfast is due to appear at Westminster Magistrates Court on Wednesday the 18th of June. Officers from the Metropolitan Police's Counter-Terrorism Command were made aware of a video allegedly recorded at a Kneecap gig on the 21st of November at the O2 Forum in Kentish Town, London. Britain will sign the Chagos deal with Mauritius tomorrow, government sources have told GB News. Under the upcoming agreement, Mauritius will gain sovereignty of the islands from Britain, but the UK-US military base will remain on Diego Garcia on a 99-year lease, which will be paid for by the British taxpayer. The cost of the deal has yet to be confirmed, but reports suggest it could start at £90 million a year. Government sources told GB News that they were confident that the deal with Mauritius would be signed virtually tomorrow. Justice Secretary Shabana Mahmood is looking at plans to make chemical castration mandatory for paedophiles and rapists, The Sun newspaper is reporting tonight. A government source said, "For too long, we've turned a blind eye to the threat of sex offenders pose, considering the solutions too difficult or too unpalatable." Shabana Mahmood isn't squeamish about doing what it takes to protect the public. Studies have shown using drugs to dull sex urges can slash offending by up to 60%. And Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch has written to the Prime Minister to ask whether changes to the winter fuel payment will be made in time for this winter. Earlier, Sir Keir Starmer signalled a major U-turn on winter fuel payments for pensioners during Prime Minister's questions, confirming that the government is now reassessing the cuts it made last year. The Conservative leader pressed the Prime Minister on when the changes will materialise, adding that pensioners need to be able to plan ahead. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now it's time for Headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Welcome to Headliners. You know the score. We're going to give you the best of tomorrow's newspapers with the best of today's comedians. I have to stress that word, comedians, because of Ofcom, of course. That allows us... Yeah, because it allows Lewis to say whatever he wants and then pretend it was a joke afterwards. How are you, Lewis?
Yeah. I'm good. I'm not white. You said I was white.
No, I apologise. No.
Apologise. You don't know
what are you?
Well, we were black people compared because we lived in Great Neck on Long Island, and right across the bay was Manhasset, and that's where the white people lived.
I see. OK, so that's scientific. How are you, Adam?
I'm beige and happy to be here.
That's good.
Feeling pretty young.
Yeah. Pretty young, yeah.
Like a lot of hair. So feeling pretty good.
Lewis has got a lot of hair. I think the two of you together, it's weird. It's like a sort of before and after picture.
Yeah, but he hasn't got white hair, though. You've got some...
No, fine, fair enough. Well, look, let's go to tomorrow's front pages. Let's see what they've got in store for us. I'm going to start with the Metro. Starmer in fuel U-turn. The Telegraph. Rayner. Let's cut migrant benefits. The Independent. PM feels the heat as he U-turns on winter fuel aid cut. The Daily Mail. Reeves reeling from triple blow. The Eye. Reeves open to new wealth taxes if she faces budget black hole. And the star, Jay's pals need to turn up. So, lots of headlines there to decode. We're going to start with the Daily Mail. Lewis?
This Daily Mail, which is £1.20 tomorrow, because it's Thursday. Open warfare in cabinet.
Different price, different days, yeah?
Well, they got the Sunday Mail, the Mail on Sunday. I think it's so weird because it's like a whole different enterprise. I don't understand it. It's one company, and this is the Mail.
Thursday's Mail.
Why do you ask me these questions? I don't.
Sorry,
understand.
I just because I know it's your hobby. The whole pricing.
Well,
of the papers.
you missed, considering it's your hobby, Lewis, you missed out. It's only 90p to subscribers.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but this is somebody who's not a subscriber.
How do you know?
Because they're going to go buy the paper tomorrow.
Mate, we get the papers here, like we subscribe. Of course, GB News is going to subscribe to.
But the person who's watching this show,
you don't know. They could be subscribers.
You can just choose one day of the week to read it
Don't be
once.
prejudiced, Lewis.
This is for people who are not subscribers.
Okay, well, I'm just saying you're cutting out a massive part of your fan base.
No, I'm not.
By just going to the non-subscribers.
The people who are subscribers, they know how much money.
I think you're not letting them know
because they're
a good deal.
subscribers already. This is for people who don't know it.
Okay, well, I think you're making a big mistake there.
Okay, open warfare in the cabinet. Reeves reeling from triple blow. Here's the triple blow.
What is it?
The triple blow is that one is that
I've had a triple blow. That's not my life.
Is
it was also a dream, Josh.
Sorry, Lewis.
Is that Rayner came in and she says, I want to Rayner, who's the Deputy Prime Minister, she's like talking to Chancellor Rachel Reeves, and I think she's trying to undercut Rachel. Who knows what the story is there? Well, it's a lot. It's a lot of lies going.
Who does know what that story is?
I do, yes, and thankfully it is all on the front page as well. So Angela Rayner's been criticised, and she's been dealt with a blow. She's been criticised by Angela Rayner. So Rachel Reeves is sort of reading from that blow. She's basically criticised her tax policies, making sure that migrants shouldn't be able to get access to a state pension as quickly as maybe they already can.
I don't know if she criticised it. I think it's more that there was a secret memo that went out there, and one of the things that they talked about was the fact that migrants should pay more to use the NHS, and also they're not automatically entitled to a pension, but they should pay into the system for longer before they get it. I think that's the gist.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that the idea is that Rachel Reeves is supposed to be the one in charge of this, and she's being advised by people who aren't necessarily in charge of the budget of the country. So I think that's seen as a blow. Also, the idea of the Prime Minister Keir Starmer doing some sort of U-turn or backpedaling on the winter fuel cuts, which, of course,
How is this a triple blowout?
So that's two. So we're going to count together, Lewis. So there's
one
more.
Inflation.
There's one. Inflation is the third one.
Something has happened to them.
So triple normally means a multiple of...
They brought this on themselves. They cut the fuel.
But that's still a blow.
It's not a blow.
Well, inflation going up is a blow to the economy and a blow to her plan. So I'd say she's had one blow.
Would you let me speak, Josh?
Yes.
Thank you. The only blow is the inflation soars. But, I mean, it's not even a blow for them because they created it themselves. Inflation isn't soaring.
If you formed a budget, Lewis, saying that we should get rid of all money for pensioners for the winter fuel allowance, and then the Prime Minister said we're actually going to go back on that, you would consider that a blow?
Okay, well, that's an excessive interpretation of what actually happened. And I also would say that this isn't necessarily a U-turn. What he's saying is, I'm just trying to be fair here, like, he's just saying he's going to make the fuel... money available to more pensioners. That's all.
He is saying
more eligible.
He is saying that, but it hasn't been in the budget. He's like sort of made this promise, and that's what Labour does. They're like liars.
Are you suggesting that politicians sometimes don't stick to their word?
I'm saying that the Labour politicians, and especially now that they're so low in the approval ratings, they're doing anything.
They can do anything. Even trying to sort of heat up old people.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things, because
it's a lose-lose situation.
Well, let me ask you, Adam, and then I'll ask you exactly the same question, if you don't mind, Lewis. Off your phone, please. Who's texting you?
My son is texting me.
What's he saying?
He's saying, really good show.
We're not into it yet.
He's saying, good show. Throw it at that guy, and that guy is you.
Oh, throw what at me?
Is not let you cut me off.
Oh, fair enough. No, I thank you very much. Please. Okay, well done.
Okay, what did he say about me?
He says, a lovely guy. You look like your other son.
Yes, it's true.
That's very nice.
Let me ask this question, please. Do you think that there should be any fuel cuts for any pensioners? I.e., this £300, should it be paid to all pensioners?
Can I ask you a question, Josh? Are these pensioners, some of them, super rich and...
Yeah, so I'm talking about all pensioners. I'm talking about all pensioners.
I think some of the fuel payments for super rich ones, you've got lots of houses, yeah.
What about the non-super rich ones who have one house and some money? I mean, my point is...
If they can't afford to keep the heating on, give them...
OK, but then this is how we do it. So, Lewis, what do you think? Do you think that some pensioners... Or do you think all pensioners should just get this 300 quid? And you are a pensioner.
I think
you're biased.
Think what we need I'm biased because I used to get the money and it would be nice to get the money. But I think people... I don't support the government sending money to pensioners. I don't think they should. I think that if we cut back on the taxes, our pensioners would have been richer. And maybe some of those pensioners don't deserve to be warm because they didn't save the money when they could have.
Oh, really? You think that, so it's sort of time machine, possibly? Go back and save a little bit
Well,
more.
it'll teach the next generation that they should not listen to a Labour or Conservative...
Oh, that's incredibly optimistic of you to think that there is going to be a next generation. Let's go on to the Daily Telegraph, then.
Yeah. Oh.
No, it's not you. It's you, Adam. Daily Telegraph.
Yes.
You are aware how this paper's
I am very aware.
review
Yes.
show works,
So
yeah?
this is the story. Rayner calls to curb on migrant benefits. This is essentially what we just sort of touched a little bit on here. We've also got other stories of the Prime Minister to sign away the Chagos Islands at a cost of $9 billion. We've covered this before on the show. I still find it amazing how we've managed to give away what is essentially a huge amount of land and pay for the privilege. I just don't know how we've managed to do that. You typically, with any item, everyone knows when you get rid of something, you normally sell it. You don't pay for the privilege. This is not garbage collection. This is not a skip. We're not paying someone to collect the islands off our back.
Free cycle.
It should be.
No,
yeah, I don't know how we're doing that. Yeah.
I'm checking what your say says.
No, stop checking yours. Just to be funny in the moment. Stop looking at your phone every 2 seconds.
telling me to be funny. You sent a message. You sent a message to all of us.
Schaefer.
And you should have seen Nick the other night. He was furious at you. Just do your job.
I am trying to do my job, which is keeping you off the phone. Lewis, what do you think about these Chagos Islands?
I think the whole country is in a state of complete chaos. I think you don't want to say anything bad about the Tories, about the Labour, because you're thinking we got to focus on the Tories. But the Tories are dead, and they caused half this problem too. So basically, we need Donald Trump to take over.
Lewis, we're also on GB News. Can you talk about the migrant small boats disturbing some of the Dunkirk little ships?
Yeah, of course I can. Because it's what do you expect?
Can you just tell us the headline so they understand what the story is?
Well, where is that?
Dunkirk's little ships.
Dunkirk's little ships diverted to make way for a migrant small boat. Basically,
that was very well read.
800 people came on small boats today. Mm-hmm. That's close to 300,000 people a year.
I don't know. That's not. Is
that assuming that we get 800 every day?
No, it isn't. But I mean, if you multiply 800 times 365, and
is that a reasonable thing to do?
And at the exact same time, the British people, the Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes, the people who defended this country, the Cumbrians, the Lancastrians, the Geordies, they were having an armada to go to sort of reenact the Dunkirk.
Yes, the heroic, our 85-year anniversary of Dunkirk, one of the incredibly heroic historical moments of this country, and they were detoured. The boats were detoured because of a migrant.
Some other boats came through. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one boat came through, and the French Navy said,
"Give them a mile away."
Give them a mile away. Yeah. Do you think Hitler might have used that as a tactic? Like then history would have worked out very differently if he just put a rubber dinghy in the middle of them all.
Maybe, but then I guess in this scenario you're likening the migrants to Hitler. I think
but I'm just saying there is definitely the imagery is interesting in terms of some people would say that it's an invasion of sorts.
I remember when Keir Starmer said, there's nothing we can do to stop these boats, or we want to stop these boats, but it's very hard to stop these boats.
He said smash the gangs.
Yeah, and meanwhile, in America, it's not about gangs. In America, they did what was necessary to put the fear of people from coming, and that's what they should do.
They've done the same
They should take one of the Royal Lifeboats crews, and they should have taken the boat that was coming along and pushed the boat back to France.
Yeah, but then we have an issue with France then.
Yes!
They're not going to...
Yes!
OK, so you want to go to war with France?
Yes!
OK, fine. That's
they'll probably surrender very quickly.
Well, we've beaten them in the past. The British people have beaten them in the past.
Fine, well... OK, well, there we go.
So we're supposed to destroy...
It's all solved.
France, I think I like our odds if we're going again.
OK, fine. Well, look, we're going to come back in a second because we have this whole thing about... did you see the video of Trump with the South African leader.
Great television.
Anyway, that is going to be on the front page of The Guardian. That is coming up in a second. We also have why you can't trust official statistics or really anything. We'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. Oh, by the way, Free Speech Nation, that's every Sunday, 7 to 9 p.m. You can join our audience or scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/tickets, and it's 7 to 9 p.m.
And it's free.
And it's free, yeah. And Lewis is on it sometimes, and even Adam. Come back in a couple of minutes for Trump.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, weekdays from 9 p.m.
Oh, can you tell me, please, about your time during the war? 50 bombing raids over Germany. Do you remember the first time you faced enemy fire?
Yes, very clearly. No one can tell you what it is like to be shot at. You have to experience it. And on my very first occasion, which was a raid on Hanover, we came under anti-aircraft fire. I have to tell you right from the outset that German anti-aircraft fire was very accurate, it was very lethal, and of course it was linked to radar, so they always knew where you were and where they expected you to be when the shells arrived. Well, we were naive, we were inexperienced, and as I say, nobody could tell you what it's going to be like. You have to experience it.
You must be very proud of what you did during the war and ultimately helping to save Britain from the Nazis.
Now, if you're looking for a hero, and I'm certainly not a hero, you must look at the boys that flew the heavy bombers, the Halifaxes and the Lancasters, because they flew much, much more slowly. Loaded, I think, somewhere under 200 miles an hour.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Welcome back to Headliners. We're going to get straight into the front page of The Guardian, Lewis. We've got a white genocide going on.
Yeah, this is The Guardian, and it's £3.20. It's so expensive, The Guardian, but it's left-wing, so you know, these people need the money.
$2.30 for subscribers.
Yeah. Forget about subscribers. We're not...
I mean, I'm concerned about subscribers, but...
Yeah, well, let me just... You could say it on your own time. I'm going to get lectured by that guy. Trump in white genocide ambush. And this is... Trump invited...
Worst kind of ambush.
Cyril Ramaphosa, who has a stolen English name. I think Cyril is a name after, like, Cyril Rhodes. And he basically said to the guy who's president of South Africa, you're killing white people. And he has images of white graves and images of people being...
Well, look, let's have a look at a clip from the White House.
Oh, wow.
These are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death. 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 Horrible death. Death. I don't know. To pick anyone. White South Africans. are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws.
Okay, horrible death going on there, Lewis.
I've been to South Africa. I was there 25 years ago.
Doing comedy, and it was a horrible death.
And
that was funny, Lewis.
Come on, mate. Don't be angry.
Your job is not to be funny.
Okay, thank you.
Your job is to
some people would
smile.
argue that I do it very well then.
Yeah, in inappropriate moments like this. And I was there, and you could feel the death coming, and you could feel people talking about it. There were tons of people from Zimbabwe who were saying this country's going to be like Zimbabwe, and there was death in Zimbabwe. I think what Donald Trump is doing is an amazing.
Do you think there's a white genocide?
I think, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So you know how many white farmers have been killed this year?
No, I don't keep track of it.
7.
That's a white genocide. The
Okay,
fact
it's a
is,
prime number.
The fact is that the country's out of control, and part of that out of control is killing white people.
Yeah, killing white people and black people. There is a lot.
Yeah,
It
the white
is
and black
out of
farmers.
control. There's a lot of crime there. There's a lot of violence, a lot of murder.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean specifically that it's a white genocide. Now,
why don't you ask him what his opinion is, and then you come in at the end?
Okay. What's your opinion, Adam? Do you think the term genocide has been misused so much in terms of it's obviously been used a lot in reference to Gaza, and now just the term genocide means nothing?
Well, I don't know what the viewers think of whether or not they agree with me. I was raised in a school where genocide was closely linked with camps, where you get people up and you put them in, you gas them, and then you kill them, and that was and their only purpose there is to kill people.
Well, there's Rwandan genocide as well.
Well, if that's happening in Rwanda, then that sounds
no,
like...
but I mean there was the Rwanda genocide,
Right.
which was with the Tutsis and.
But who's is genocide to do with numbers or anything else along those lines? What I find interesting about this story is that the president of South Africa has obviously gone there to sort of be like, oh, try and buddy up with Trump. Here's a golf book. I've worked my golf game. And Trump's gone, that's great, mate. What about this white genocide? That is quite... I'm trying to remember. It's funny. It's funny. It's as Trump said himself, it makes great television.
It's like you, Lewis, when people can visit your flat and then you put on sort of Schindler's List or something. You welcome them through the door.
Yeah, that was unnecessary when I did that the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the point is, it doesn't matter where the genocide takes place, or even how many numbers. If it's condoned, if they're taking away people's lands,
Okay, well, they put in a law that affects land. They haven't actually used it against farmers yet. It's meant to be against land that is basically empty land. Of course, that could be misused in the future. And there was this politician who's a fringe politician saying, kill the Boer, kill the white person, whatever. But that's a fringe politician. That person's not in government.
We have people here who say...
And as someone who's actually been there, I can tell you, it's a lovely country. The people are lovely. They want to get... I'm not saying they do, and I'm not saying Donald Trump did the right thing. I'm having second thoughts about it.
Okay.
I don't think he should have done that. But
All right.
but maybe he's right, and maybe maybe South Africa will say, you know what, we're not killing everybody, and I'm going to make sure that people aren't killing anybody, because if people do think we're killing people, they're not going to want to.
Wasn't there that Labour guy who said we need to slit all their throats or something along those lines? I mean, it seems like quite common case over here.
But I will say there is an irony here where South Africa, who have accused Israel of genocide, are then themselves being accused of genocide. So my sympathy for them is not so much, but I just don't think it's correct. Right, let's go on to the I paper, please, Adam.
Yeah, so this is the I paper. We've got a couple of stories on here. One of the main ones seems to be Reeves opens a new wealth tax if she faces a budget black hole. So this basically means if there is a budget black hole, Reeves has basically suggested that she might be open to introducing new wealth taxes for those who are particularly wealthy. And we've also known, I mean, this is more speculation, and I will say allegedly, but there seems to be, there's been previous conversations that if she can't find enough money in the budget, she would be open to even maybe reducing our ISA allowances from 20 grand.
Do you have an ISA?
Of course I do. Of course I do.
Do you really?
Yes. Do you not? They're free, Josh.
What does that mean?
It's a free place to put any money that you have in savings.
So you have savings?
So my savings isn't all invested in board games, such as yourself.
Okay.
So think of it as a lot of money of board games, and I put it on one side, and it doesn't get taxed, and it doesn't depreciate in value. 33.
That's insane. Lewis, do you have an ISA?
I don't even know what that is. I have iced coffee every morning.
Nice.
But I don't have an ISA.
You should both look into it.
And I think this is
You're
just
weird.
more garbage that's coming out of the administration or whatever, out of the government. They're just throwing stuff out because they're so unpopular, and they think that first of all, no one believes them when they're going to be right wing, and no one believes that they're even going to do the left wing things that they're going to say. That no one believes anything from these. Am I allowed to say that?
Apart from the fact that they're going to increase our taxes. So let's have a look at some of the newspaper stories inside. Actually, this was on the front page of the Telegraph. It was up in the corner here. Yeah. But it's interesting about how we just can't trust numbers anymore. What can we trust? If we can't trust numbers, what can you trust now, Adam?
Absolutely, Josh, and well done for catching at the top right of the Telegraph. So this is the headline here says, why the UK's official statistics can no longer be trusted. So those who watch the show regularly will realise or might be reminded of the fact that we had a slightly different story about the NHS not being able to trust their data, and this particular study seems to fall within similar patterns. So the ONS have been sort of called up by an independent regulatory arm of the UK Statistics Authority, basically saying their data is not as reliable as it used to be. Now, what that means is, and proof of this is, flagship job survey data has had the kite mark of quality removed.
OK. Adam, I can feel viewers dropping away during this.
Long story short,
Lewis,
nobody wants to fill in surveys anymore for the government, and therefore we cannot trust the data.
Lewis, I want you to sex this story up. Go.
Britain isn't the same as it used to be. So how good could it be? How could the numbers be? And the numbers are showing very bad things about the country.
Yeah, but what happens if we don't have the correct numbers? That's a real issue. We need these numbers because that's how we decide policy. If the people we hire to collect the numbers are doing a terrible job, which is what they seem to be doing, partly because they overestimated on their last census how many trans people there were because they use this terrible language. It turns out that most trans people in the country live in Tower Hamlets, which is, of course, ridiculous. It's more because there's a language issue here where they didn't understand the question. Then this is like ideology is taking over in these places, and it has a real-world ramification, right?
I would say I don't think the government should be collecting that many statistics. I don't think...
Well, they're not. So you've got your...
No, but we need these numbers because it determines where we put our resources. That's why they're important.
It could have an effect on us from a monetary standpoint. Yeah. Just like the same way in the NHS, it helps us spot diseases correctly.
We're going to do one more very quick story. Lewis, The Independent has the return of dangerous art.
Yes, police investigate Enoch Powell portrait hung in Village Shop as a hate incident. And everybody knows who Enoch Powell was. He was a Tory MP, and he gave that famous Rivers of Blood speech. And I remember seeing him on American TV in the 70s. That's how old I am. Mm-hmm. And now, if you just and he said basically that this is going to become a nation of strangers. And then, whoa, Keir Starmer gives a speech and says we're going to become a nation of strangers.
Well, he didn't say the exact wording.
He used the term nation of strangers.
Island of strangers.
Island of strangers. OK, so what is the nation of strangers?
Well, strangers in their own country.
No, island feels more lonely to me.
And so this woman had a poster, had a painting of Enoch Powell, or a photograph, in her shop. She's an ironmonger. And
with an excerpt of it, wasn't it?
With the speech.
With an excerpt of the speech.
And she's right. It's created a nation of an island of strangers.
Lewis, was it seeing that Enoch Powell speech? Is that what inspired you to come over then?
I
want a taste of that.
I didn't think it was. I didn't know.
You didn't know.
I think this lady missed a trick. She hung up the wrong picture. Had she hung up a picture of a nice framed picture of Keir Starmer, maybe with some makeup on, and he sort of said a quote saying "Island of Strangers," I think she would have been fine.
This is obviously a free speech issue. This has been the police are now looking into it as a hate incident. Yeah. You know, it's her shop. She should be. I wouldn't necessarily shop somewhere where they've got a picture of Enoch Powell as I go in. But that's my choice. Her choice is to do it. But investigating it as a hate incident, what do you think? Overreach, Adam?
Well, it depends. It depends. I think she can hang wherever she wants up there. But let's say they said something that was reference a politician who might say something maybe anti-Semitic, and then she put something up, and then she done that. If somebody from that community said, "Oh, I think that's maybe offensive towards me," maybe...
Yes, but the point is, hate incidents are something that have just seen massive overreach.
This has become, it's a horrible situation, Josh. It's nothing but bad news, this show. This show's untenable.
We've got great news in a second. We've got paedophiles to be castrated coming up.
There's nothing happy. Whoever chose these stories there's nothing happy here. Yeah. This is bad. It's a police state. And The Independent is not a newspaper.
We've got very happy stories.
Every time we say the newspaper, it's not a newspaper. Okay. It's not printed on paper. It's a website.
OK, well, look, coming up in a second, we finally are getting to the Sun. We have this paedophiles to be castrated. We'll see if we manage to make our way through that story. Maybe Lewis will stay off his phone during that story. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? We'll see. Come back in 2 minutes to find out.
Good evening, this is your GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Now we do have a bit of a cold front pushing its way southwards as we go through the next 24 hours or so. It's not going to bring a huge amount of rain as it makes its way across initially eastern parts of Scotland and then down the eastern side of England. But what it is going to bring, well, a bit more cloud for some places, like say eastern Scotland, northeast England, and a few outbreaks of rain. Some perhaps a little bit on the heavy side, but it's not looking too intense. What it will also bring though will be some fresher air coming in from the north. So overnight tonight, away from the cloudier zone where we get some clear skies, a fresh night, particularly across northern parts. A touch of frost is possible in parts of Scotland, and there could be some mist and fog patches around first thing as well. But as we go through the morning, well, across the southern areas ahead of that front, it's a bright sunny start and temperatures not doing too badly here. Cloudier and a bit damp across some central eastern parts of England. A decent amount of cloud across Northern Ireland first thing, but across the rest of northern England and much of Scotland, it's a generally fine and sunny story. However, across some eastern northeastern parts where there's a bit more of a breeze pushing in, I'm expecting a few showers to arrive as we go through the day as well. Otherwise, as we go through the day, we are going to see that front gradually shifting further southwards, still not bringing much in the way of rain. It's just that cloud that's going to push its way across some central parts of Wales into southern England as well, so skies turning a bit grey here. Otherwise, plenty of fine weather on offer, but that fresher air I mentioned does mean temperatures will be markedly down compared to today. As we then go into Friday, it is going to be a chilly start on Friday morning for some of us, but a largely fine picture generally. However, cloud will build from the west across parts of Northern Ireland in particular before some rain starts to push its way in later on. That rain then is going to become pretty widespread as we go through Saturday. Most of us will see some rain at times and also some blustery winds. Bye-bye.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. Lewis, you're really excited to get into the Sun, aren't you?
I am not in the... I'm not in the Sun. This is Justice Secretary's hat. You know what? You can be funny. You can be funny. But Lou, today's not the day to be funny. Today's not the day. It's just been a horrible news day. It's a horrible world we live in. Anyway, Justice Secretary's vow, which is this Mahmood, whatever her name is, Shabana Mahmood. She says that pedos to be castrated. And this is a plan. Everything that's ever in the newspaper is a plan. It's always it could be, it should be. We're investigating it. This is not going ahead. This is a suggestion.
Oh, okay. Interesting. What do you think, Adam? Are you as cynical? Do you think that this? It seems like they've done a trial and now they're expanding it. They've definitely been doing it. in this, but now they're talking about expanding it to 20 prisons. What do you think? Is it a good idea?
Well, I don't like the idea of it being chemically castrated. I think because chemical castration requires you to constantly take drugs so it's a subscription, so there's an additional cost there, and also you need to remember to take your I don't want to be a pedo drug, and if you forget to take it, suddenly you're a nonce again. So I'd say just maybe actual castration.
Oh, really?
And then it's cheaper, and then maybe it's just like it's a done deal.
So there's two types here. There's something that actually limits your testosterone, limits your libido.
Yeah.
What about giving this stuff to rapists as well?
Are they self-identifying as women?
Well, either way. What do you think, Lewis? Do you think that this might be an interesting idea?
I don't think it is. I think, you know, I mean, if someone's a pedo...
I don't know if we're allowed to say that word.
Are we not allowed to say
I've got in trouble.
No, you just can't say it about...
I think you say paedophile, but you can't say the other word.
OK, whatever. If they're a paedophile, they should be in prison. And if they're an extreme paedophile, maybe you should have a death penalty. But I don't trust this government to give out drugs to people, and it's a mood-altering drugs, and they're giving out enough mood-altering drugs. And basically, we live in a police state as it is, and you could say, well, that person put up a picture of Enoch Powell, and maybe they should be on medication so they don't do this.
So you think it's a slippery slope?
I think I agree with Lewis there, but I also think there's a few other things we can do. Like I think in the United States, if you're a paedophile and then you get when you finish your sentence, they don't actually get released to the public. They actually get put in a separate prison almost, and they never actually leave. So it's a life sentence. The other thing is, if you are a sex offender or a rapist and stuff, there's an app where everyone has to sort of say, let everyone knows in the area. There's now somebody who's a sex offender. Over here, we release them way early in some cases, and we give them brand new identities, and they're allowed to mingle around everyone else again. And I think with that, you shouldn't get a second chance.
So maybe this drug thing is a way of dealing with it then?
I don't trust the court system in this country.
If they're in jail for life, they won't need to be castrated.
All right, fair enough.
Then that could be too much.
I think we managed to get through that intact, hopefully. I mean, that wasn't a joke, by the way.
Yes.
Right, let's go on to the Times, please, Adam.
Yeah, so the Times, we've got some stories here. Pensioners to wait year after winter fuel turn, and we've also got the Trump ambitious South African president, the white victims. One that we've got here, and I did this a little bit whilst you two were having a bit of a domestic off-screen, but sighing. Sighing, essentially, many have cited by heavy bosses, could be seen as a form of harassment. So don't go breathing around each other.
OK.
Because that could be...
Especially with bad breath.
Absolutely.
What do you think about this, Lewis?
The sigh? It's the same thing with the pedophile thing, you know?
Exactly the same.
It could be the thing, because people could be just as upset, oh, my God, he sighed it. Maybe we should start giving the guy drugs. I mean, we're at a very bad time here. We're at the intersection of so many different wars that are happening. Wars between men and women, wars between East and West, wars between the Europeans.
Wars between me and you.
And between me and you, between sensible people like Louis Schaefer, who understood this comedy show from the very beginning, and you. And you.
Who doesn't think it's a comedy show?
Well, maybe now you do, but maybe now you're going a bit too far, so let me tell jokes.
OK, too funny. Right. All right, let's go on, Lewis, to some of the stories inside the paper. We have the Telegraph with the NHS actually wanting to not harm children.
Yeah, this is West Streeting in the Telegraph, and it's like £3.50 tomorrow, something like that. And the government, this is another one of those things. Streeting considers banning cross-sex hormones for trans teenagers. And this is one of those couldish, possibly, we're thinking about it. Well, 99% of the stories, we're not doing it, but we're thinking about doing it and see whether people like it. And if they like it, then we're going to go through with doing it. The truth is that there was the Cass report, which said we should not...
The castrate report?
We should not be castrating children.
Did you like that joke, Lewis? Was that good?
Yeah.
Am I not allowed to tell jokes anymore?
No, you're not allowed to.
I'm not allowed to be funny.
No, I don't think you should. I don't think you should.
Sorry, audience.
To be fair to Streeting, though, West Streeting, he did outlaw the idea of puberty blockers, and these are different from gender-affirming drugs. So I would have thought someone, a layman, going, isn't it, surely all drugs to kids changing gender should be not right, but there's actually a separate division. So they've got rid of puberty blockers, or they've outlawing those, and now they're considering doing gender affirming. So I think...
Which is like testosterone or estrogen.
Yes, yes. So I think maybe it should just be something as simple as any drugs given to under 18-year-olds should be banned. And then once you're 18, do what you want.
Well, this is exactly it, is that, like, I think 98% of people who were on the puberty blockers then go on to the cross-sex hormones. That's what's happened. This has been somewhat of a loophole, and the idea is, of course, that children really shouldn't or don't have the mental capacity to be fully conscious of all of these changes that will happen to their body when they're on cross-sex hormones, which are they become infertile, and then you have other that changes their brain development.
That was very good. Just can you make it sexy, please? Because that was very. I can feel people going to sleep. It's getting quite late now, so if you could just make that sexy.
That's absolutely. Yeah, you interrupted
Good point,
him.
mate. Good point.
He doesn't care as much as I. Maybe you care more than I do. So that's why you're on your well-being. This is another. Let's castrate children.
This is let's not castrate is the point, which is a good thing.
This is what he's saying. But the whole point, the whole underlying thing is he's in favour of Labour.
No, he's not. That's the whole point. He's literally stopping what was put in place under Tory government.
He's going, maybe we will.
Maybe we will, maybe we won't.
No,
the fact is, if he said we're not going to do it because it's horrible to castrate anyone, let alone a child. Maybe a pedo, it's bad to do that. It's okay.
We're not allowed to say pedo. We're not allowed to say that word.
Pedophile.
No, yeah. Anyway, okay. Look, one more story before we go to a little break. Actually, Adam, this really should be for Lewis, but this is a story about the Picts and the Dukes and the Normans and the whatever.
Yeah, so this is from The Guardian. So the European Year of the Normans reopens a debate over Irish identity. So people in Ireland, or the party, one of the opposing parties in Ireland, Sinn Féin, has basically described a supposed commemoration offensive. Now, this is the European Cultures Initiative. That's happening in 2027. So this hasn't happened yet. It's important to say. This is just the idea that Ireland's basically bought into this initiative and celebrating Normans, and Sinn Féin have said this is offensive because William the Conqueror
1,000 years ago
basically did something to Ireland. And if there's anything we know about Irish people is that they don't,
forget.
They don't forget.
What do you think about this, Lewis? I mean, a lot of people say that Norman culture, that's partly what makes Irish culture today as we know it, right?
Yeah, we're at war. We're at war with those horrible people coming from overseas.
The Normans.
But everybody who's coming to this country.
But it's like having
Ireland is a part of this country. They're like, it's a British Isle.
It's like getting upset with the Vikings. It's like the Vikings were
and the Angles and Saxons, the Picts.
Write in and tell Lewis what you think. Irish people who are watching this, please write in and tell Lewis what you think about that.
They're doing it now. They're joining together. The Northern Irish, the Protestants and the Catholics are joining together to rail against the mass immigration which is destroying their country.
Stop the Normans. So did you know that? I didn't know that these are Norman names. Burke, Griffiths, Fitzgerald, Lynch Walsh. These are traditionally Irish names, and of course, they came over from Norman.
And the country's all mixed up now. And I think they did a study recently which found that people who are living in Ireland are already they're so mixed up, and they're all English people living there. It's not like
so you don't think there's any such thing as like an Irish ethnicity as such?
It's, from what I can tell, they're very similar to the English ethnicity. They've all been mixed in.
Now, I do know that annoys people, calling anyone, saying they're similar to English, so whether it's Irish, Scottish, Welsh, everyone.
Yeah.
So
and maybe they should
enjoy that.
That's going to really, really upset people.
They should do DNA testing.
No one likes being called English.
DNA test as the Sinn Féin people. For what purpose?
Just to show that they're not quite as pure Irish or whatever Celtic.
That's it. I mean, no one's pure, are they?
Yes, but they're acting like they're pure.
All right, well, let's come back in a few moments. We're going to find out the Express. We have Fight for Fuel Pay for all not over. They basically want everybody to get that £300. And also, we've got a really interesting thing about Pro Mortalist. Have you heard of this? Pro Mortalist?
No,
This is the new crank conspiracy. Lewis is going to tell us all about it in a couple of minutes. Come back. See you then.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
There's some pretty heavy rain affecting some typical holiday hotspots at the moment, for example, across northern France into Italy, Austria, Croatia, as well as many other countries in that area. We're seeing some heavy rain leading to the risk of some flooding, even some intense thunderstorms as well. Further west, a bit drier across many parts of western Spain into Portugal, but some showers affecting the Canary Islands. Even some more changeable weather to come as we head towards the weekend. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
And
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
What is the state of our economy? What is the state of our National Health Service? What is the state of our schools?
What on earth is going on?
Understanding Britain means understanding the state we are in. This is State of the Nation with me, Matt Goodwin, Wednesdays, Thursdays and Fridays from 8 p.m. on GB News.
She wouldn't see me.
That's interesting. Right, welcome back to Headliners. We're going to go straight into the Express, Lewis.
The Daily Express, which is £1.80 tomorrow, backing Britain for 125 years. They say somebody's got to defend this country. This is Kemi Badenoch blasts PM's partial U-turn on winter fuel allowance for old age pensioners, which is people like me. I'm 68 years old. I look amazing, and I'm being yelled at by a young kid, Josh. Fight for fuel pay for all, not over. And it's like we don't know what the story is because they haven't said. They're fighting to give everybody this £300.
OK, well, you've just said what the story is, so that was pretty
everybody
good.
doesn't.
And also Tottenham won, so congratulations.
And
Go
Tottenham
Spurs.
won.
That's exciting.
This is my second team.
What's your first team?
Crystal Palace.
Yay! Yeah, we did well recently.
I'm Spurs. Yeah. Of course. What about the Daily Star?
Daily Star, sad story. Mum's plea to coroner. Jay's pals need to turn up. So essentially, there was his friends haven't turned up to court.
OK, right. Well, look, let's have a look at some of the stories inside the newspapers. We also have now the Telegraph. There's something called pro-mortalists, which is some new nutty thing. How many YouTube videos have you watched about these guys, Lewis?
I have not heard of it, but this is another thing, which is people don't feel like they've got a right to live. So they're killing themselves. They're killing people who were trying to create life, the IVF people.
They blew up let's read the statement there. Yeah. Pro-mortalists blew up an IVF clinic.
Yeah, Weather.
That's a similar story.
Different country.
Pro-mortalists blew up an IVF clinic.
I lost
story 9.
Don't worry about it. Well, Adam, what do you think about this story?
So this guy, Guy Edward Butkus. Let's be honest.
Do you think his name is what made him blow up?
Possible. Look, it's sad that he's blown himself up, But if you look at it, as a kid, he enjoyed playing with smoke bombs and model rockets.
Who hasn't? Who hasn't?
And once managed to burn down his family home with a box of matches. So I guess you could say it was on the cards. He was gonna blow up at some point. Happened when he was 25.
So
all very sad.
Yeah.
Ironically, he grew up in an IVF clinic, but I feel like with these gentlemen, if they had any form of sex, they probably wouldn't have led to that.
It's just because you normally would hear things about like abortion clinics being attacked in America. This is the first I've ever heard of an IVF
thing,
clinic.
which is the opposite. But it's all about death, and that's what this is. Everything in the Labour left and the Conservatives.
This isn't America.
It is the same thing. It's all about abortion, trans thing, which is about castration. It's about birth control. It's about we're white people. We shouldn't have children. We should commit suicide. That's okay.
Lewis, are you aware Lewis is in a good mood today? Let's see if let's go to Lewis. Let's see if you can make this one about death. The Labour considers imposing 5 miles per hour road in Wales.
Well, that's also the same thing. It's like
please tie this together.
Yes, it's like
that's quite easy to tie it together. This is
anti-death. This is preventing death.
This is the Telegraph, which is Labour considers imposing 5 mile per hour roads in Wales, which if you've ever been in a car going 5 miles an hour, you could push it faster than that. So they don't want people to drive because they don't want us to leave the house. They don't want us to live. They want us dead.
He did it. He did it. I was wondering how you'd get there, and he did it. Well done. Adam, what do you think about
I'd just like to say, as someone, because Lewis doesn't actually have a car, and most of the time your wife doesn't let you drive your car, Josh, so I think I'm in the best position because I actually own my own car and I drive quite a lot.
Show off.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'll give you a lift home tonight if you want. But it's if you play your cards right. and you're sexy with it.
Not bad looking.
This is ridiculous, 5 miles per hour. I feel like you could ask someone who's just been hit by a car, and as he was like, the life was draining from his eyes, if you stuck a microphone with it, would you support 5 mile an hour? He'd be like, well, no, that's ridiculous. So I don't know who supports.
What I think is ridiculous is amazing how this is Ms. Hutt said that actually the 20 miles per hour speed limit is massively popular with everybody, and it's literally the most unpopular policy in 26 years history of the Welsh devolution. Final, very quick story. No, we don't have. No, okay, we don't have. Sorry, there was about Leonardo da Vinci.
It was the best one.
Genius.
It was
All right,
the best
so
one.
show is nearly over. Let's take another quick look at Thursday's front pages. We have the Metro there. Starmer in fuel U-turn. Was it really a U-turn? Telegraph, Rayner, let's cut migrant benefits. The Independent PM feels the heat as he U-turns on winter fuel aid cut. Daily Mail, Reeves reeling from triple blow. The Eye, Reeves open to new wealth taxes. And the Star, Jay's pals need to turn up. So don't forget, you can stay with us all day, not just on TV, but on radio and on your smart speaker. To listen to us, go to your smart speaker and just say, play GB News on TuneIn. That's it for tonight's show. Thank you to my guests, Lewis and Adam. I'm going to be back tomorrow at 11 p.m. with Aideen McQueen and Nick Dixon. Aideen has got a fantastic story to tell you. If you're watching the 5 a.m. repeat, stay tuned for breakfast.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good evening. This is your GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Now, we do have a bit of a cold front pushing its way southwards as we go through the next 24 hours or so. It's not going to bring a huge amount of rain as it makes its way across initially eastern parts of Scotland and then down the eastern side of England. But what it is going to bring, well, a bit more cloud for some places, like, say, eastern Scotland, northeast England, and a few outbreaks of rain. Some perhaps a little bit on the heavy side, but it's not looking too intense. What it will also bring, though, will be some fresher air coming in from the north. So overnight tonight, away from the cloudier zone where we get some clear skies, a fresh night, particularly across northern parts. A touch of frost is possible in parts of Scotland, and there could be some mist and fog patches around first thing as well. But as we go through the morning, well, across the southern areas ahead of that front, it's a bright sunny start and temperatures not doing too badly here. Cloudier and a bit damp across some central eastern parts of England. A decent amount of cloud across Northern Ireland first thing, but across the rest of northern England and much of Scotland, it's a generally fine and sunny story. However, across some eastern northeastern parts where there's a bit more of a breeze pushing in, I'm expecting a few showers to arrive as we go through the day as well. Otherwise, as we go through the day, we are going to see that front gradually shifting further southwards, still not bringing much in the way of rain. It's just that cloud that's going to push its way across some central parts of Wales into southern England as well, so skies turning a bit grey here. Otherwise, plenty of fine weather on offer, but that fresher air I mentioned does mean temperatures will be markedly down compared to today. As we then go into Friday, it is going to be a chilly start on Friday morning for some of us, but a largely fine picture generally. However, cloud will build from the west across parts of Northern Ireland in particular before some rain starts to push its way in later on. That rain then is going to become pretty widespread as we go through Saturday. Most of us will see some rain at times and also some bluster.